Varric, no, we could have talked about this. Why did you go and do this? Why did... Oh, there, no, never mind, he's over there. Hello, everybody, my name is that Joe Guy, and welcome back to Dragon Age Inquisition. So I actually had a false start over here. We're going to get started today on doing stuff. But in my false start, I accidentally recorded like a minute without...
Inquisitor.
Huh? Oh, yeah, no, we're in the nice big grand hall again. Now with 100% less scaffolding, which is really nice. Ironically, I think there's less nobles in here than there was when there was scaffolding here. Well, but who am I to judge the taste of nobles? So I kind of got to get back on my feet. Like, literally, that thing I just said about the Great Hall, I said it in the last, like, recording as well. Just, I did a minute and then realized, oh, shit, I'm not actually recording this. In the meantime, I noticed the Varric over here is talking to a girl.
I appreciate the warning, but you shouldn't have come yourself. What if the guild found out, or what's his name?
Are you worrying for me or for yourself?
A little of column A, a little of column B. I am the expendable one, after all.
Oh, don't worry, I'll protect you. We'll just have to... Well, this is a surprise.
Hello.
You're the Inquisitor, right? Bianca Davry, at your service.
I like your accent. Where's it from? Dwarf Town? That came out as a high school insult, was actually meant as a genuine compliment. Oh, shit.
Your name is Bianca.
It's a common name. Half the girls in the Merchants Guild are named Bianca. The other half are named Helga.
Okay.
I lucked out.
Yeah, that's true, you did.
I take it you're a friend of Varric's.
Who isn't a friend of Varric's?
True.
You have met him before, right?
You're absolutely the first person I've seen flirt with Varric, though. Pleasure.
Any friend of Varric's is welcome here.
Be careful saying things like that. Some of his friends you don't want to meet. Well, maybe you do. Who am I to judge?
Bianca's got a lead on where Corypheus got his red lyrium.
The site of Bartran's Folly, the tag Varric found, has been leaked. There's a Deep Roads entrance crawling with strange humans carting out red lyrium by the handful.
I mean, that sounds like it.
How do we know they're not using multiple entrances to get to the Tig?
Navigating the Deep Roads isn't like the surface. There's no accurate maps of the whole system, and there are cave-ins, dark spawn, lava floods. If you find a route that gets where you're going, you don't deviate. Trying to find another way could be deadly.
Unless you had a reason for it, though, right? I mean, they've got a lot of resources.
Who could have given away the Tig's location?
There were a few people who knew. Hirelings from the expedition, a couple of close friends.
How they found out isn't important. What matters is we know where they are now.
Oh, I see. This is specifically the type where we found the red lyrium artifact in the first place.
If it's such a secret, how do you know about it, Bianca?
I told her. Right after the expedition, I wrote and told Bianca what we found.
Interesting.
I had artifacts that needed buyers, and she had more contacts that would pay for them. Plus, I owed her.
Really? Or what?
You can get there from Orlais. It's a long way to the free marches.
The deep roads are all connected. Or they used to be. Collapses and such. Some of them on purpose.
They really are roads. They spanned the Dwarven Empire, went to every corner of the continent, maybe further. In theory, you can get to any Tig using the deep roads, but in practice, there's a reason nobody uses them anymore.
Yeah, it's weird, It is a weird... Hang on. We shut this down. Yeah, well, I'm gonna say that. It's weird to think that the Dwarven Empire, only Orzammar in Ferelden, like, still exists, but the roads go everywhere. I mean, I think there's one more Dwarven Tig that recently got made contact with again, who might be mighty pissed at Orzammar for cutting them off during, I think, the First Blight. Yeah.
We need to deal with this. As long as he has this source, Corypheus is that much more powerful.
Indeed.
I couldn't agree more.
I'll keep an eye on their operation. If you're interested in shutting it down, you've got my help. Try not to leave me waiting too long, Varric. I've got my own work to do, you know.
Bianca, huh?
Right. That's not going to be trouble at all. Let me know when you want to head to the entrance.
I'll do. Well, shit. Well, shit. Corypheus is getting his red lyrium for the tag Hawken and Varric discovered years ago on their expedition to the Deep Roads into Kirkwall. It may be possible to reach it using an entrance to the Deep Roads somewhere in the hinterlands. Be interesting going back there. Hope it doesn't bring up any bad memories. So, we do have a few things to do today. I want to go to the war table, but there is actually one thing I want to do first, and that is load. There you go. Find out why Cassandra and Cullen are meeting. They're having a chin wag, and I wonder why.
I hear they're gone. The whole order.
Thank the Maker. Nothing but trouble.
I still think they could have helped. Corypheus is definitely blighted.
Right. Always the expert.
Well, we don't know that for sure, and that's actually reminding me, one thing I do want to talk about is, I read over the Codex. Where's a good place to talk about it? Right here, actually. This is actually fast become my favourite spot. Even though it's a bit shadier than I would like, but hey, it was literally night in my Dragon Age Origins camp, so who am I to complain? It's nicer here anyway. So, I read through the Codex, and one of the things that I read was about the Nightmare. Now, I'm not going to read through this whole Codex entry, you can look it up on the wiki if you want to read it yourself. But it's under fuck this fucking UI. Is this? No. No, that's a Nug. There it is, it's the Nightmare. So just a bunch of stuff about the Nightmare. And one thing it says in particular is, like, a fear demon feeds on fear, and you think of it like a weak creature like rage or hunger or something like that. Nothing which is particularly complicated like pride or desire, which are more complex emotions. However, fear deeply seeds into so many things, and as the demons become more powerful, the concepts that they represent, the emotions they represent, become more complex as a result. So if a fear demon was to become if a fear demon was to become the most powerful fear demon, then what do you think it would choose to embody? What do you think it would choose to represent? Of all the fears, death? Maybe, but some people aren't afraid of death. What is everybody universally afraid of? The answer is, of course, the Blight. So, that was mentioned as much in the Codex entry, and that led me to think that, what if that dragon is not a true archdemon? What if it is an entity summoned in the shape of an archdemon by the Nightmare of the Blight itself? Something entirely designed to provoke fear, because archdemons always hide behind their armies. They don't go full into front of battle because they need to protect themselves. It flings itself at enemies as if it hasn't a care in the world, as if nothing can bring it down. On top of that, the stuff that it fires, its breath, is this spirit energy stuff, the same kind of corrupting energy sort of thing that flies out from when we see Red Lyrium in action, or the corruption runes in action. So for those reasons, I think that, well, I have a slight theory that may be the case. Plus, honestly, narratively, it works a bit better because we dealt with a Blight in the first game, and the game, BioWare is too good to repeat itself like that. Not that it couldn't repeat itself, but have a bigger threat behind it or something like that, so it still could be a true Blight. I wouldn't say I'd be disappointed if that was the case, but I think that theory is a pretty good one. And if it is the case, then that does, I will admit, make me feel slightly relieved having gotten rid of the Wardens from all of Southern Thedas. It was a tough decision for sure, and, with Corypheus, who is blighted, but maybe not in the same way that we understand blight. At the very, very least, there is that. But we haven't actually fought much in the way of Darkspawn. It's just Venatori for the most part. So, I don't know. We shall just kind of see how that unfolds. And not get rid of the Wardens lightly one way or another. And at the time, it didn't even occur to me that this wasn't like a true Blight. But with everything that happened, I still stand by it. But I think Markus, just kind of as an in-character sort of thing, I think he is maybe not regretting sending the Wardens away, but maybe he is regretting rescuing Hawk instead of Stroud. It does sort of feel that the Grey Warrens could have picked themselves up and helped if Stroud was still around, but instead I know I deliberated on it for a little while, and I'm biased because Hawk was my last protagonist, but it instinctively, with only a few seconds to choose, Hawk went for the champion of Kirkwall, the hero of the mages. Maybe that was a kind of immature decision, but it is the one that he would made in character, and I'm glad I went with it. And I'm glad that as a result of that, you know, not going with the Wardens has had some nice side effects, like breaking some ground with Solus, taking the story in a direction I didn't expect, because I was fully expecting to support the Wardens, but I didn't expect the situation to be so complicated. Yeah. But the other thing I want to talk about, and there may be a fair bit of talking this first episode, is that we had some notes found and decoded which belonged to Calpurnia, messages between her and her slaves. There is definitely a lot of mistrust between her and Corypheus. There really is. Him denying her access to the shrine of Dumat may be a cautious measure as opposed to a prideful one, because she is sending slaves, or I say slaves, the slaves that she has liberated, who are loyal primarily to her and not to Corypheus, sending them to follow Corypheus into the mountains to try gain access, sending them to research old Tevinter Magister history stuff to see how well Corypheus matches up to the idea of a Magister from back in the day, to see if he is, you know, to try and poke holes in who he says he is. I don't know why Calpurnia joined up with him in the first place, but she is clearly full of doubt for one reason or another, but she is still the leader of the Venatori. And as such, I think there's maybe an ally in there. A lot of what she does I quite like her freeing of the slaves, that stuff's all grand. But the Venatori, recapturing Tevinter's glory, etc., not something I'm a fan of. So we'll see how that goes. And the last thing I want to talk about was, there was a note on we just came from there. A note on Skyhold, which I actually really liked. It was, in fact, I'm gonna briefly show you this bit. It was, ooh. Is it places? Is this a Heron on Skyhold? Is it down here? Yeah, it's possible references to Skyhold in the readings of the Great Library of Val Royeaux. Just mentions. So in the Tan Empire, passing mention of an unseen trading partner occupying where hold the sky in Ravenni Ballad of blah 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 blah. I thought fictional, date uncertain, but that could be us. And I thought this is really cool. It's like a spattering of mentions of Skyhold, a forgotten complex from the past. Father of Rast, and that Ferelden built upon the sky, mentioned as a possible destination of the Spirit of the Dead Ban, a Ferelden lullaby dated to the Exalted Age, Lady Bander of She, Ferelden highwayman banished in 483 Black, thought to use a place in the clouds as refuge. Or Legion Tavern song mentioning Skyhold by name is Fanciful Utopia. Well, it is a little oasis in the middle of these frozen mountains. We can grow plants here and everything. Just because of the protection of the winds, or maybe a little bit of elven magic, because apparently the Vale is old here. Tioran V, possible etching of major Skyhold features, but no context available. Unknown language, the tale has never been translated. Pre-glory, almost sounds Kunari in terms of like its language features. And a Tevinter carving, a broken relief that matches the outline of the main gate, but all possible scholarship suggests the structure outside Minrathous pre-divine. Possible shared inspiration, but it's not known what direction. But the structure seems to be kind of indisputably Ferelden in make, and we can kind of just see from looking around these straight castle kind of British angles, Anglican angles. Oh, that's a nice turn of phrase there. Yeah, they're nice, and they are Ferelden. And sorry, I just realized that quest up there has not been set inactive. Set inactive, there you go. And okay, so that's really all I want to talk about. We also got a judgment to make. I haven't forgotten about that based on the end result of the last series. There's been a little bit of time, I think, in game between the last session and kind of now. Markus, I think, did have a bit of a down period with everything that happened. It was a big thing that happened. And on top of that, he discovered that it was not Andraste who pulled him from the rift. There's a part of him which felt really special and emboldened by the fact that Andraste herself in person came to rescue him. And having that just straight up be said, no, the Maker and Andraste works as they always have, through providence, through fate, through happenstance, through men's will. And so despite the fact that I still genuinely believe that it is my duty, my sacred duty even, to do this, knowing that it rests on the difference between Andraste physically being there and just her putting her faith in me effectively makes it feel like it's a lot more on my shoulders, which is a huge amount of pressure, I think, for Markus. So that's just kind of what's running through his head right now. Anyway, it's been like 15 minutes. Let's see what this meeting is.
You asked for my opinion, and I've given it. Why would you expect it to change?
I expect you to keep your word. It's relentless. I can't...
You give yourself too little credit.
If I'm unable to fulfill what vows I kept, then nothing good has come of this.
Lyrium.
Would you rather save face than admit...
Hello.
We will speak of this later.
You might want to stay for this.
And people say I'm stubborn. This is ridiculous. Cullen told you that he's no longer taking lyrium.
He did, yeah. I mean, any of these. Yeah, I'll just say this one, because it is courageous. At the same time, I'm not sure how much I approve. I understand why he's doing it, but he is doing it for himself. And I worry about losing him.
Yes. He trusted your judgment on the matter.
He was not interested in my judgment today. Cullen has asked that I recommend a replacement for him.
Really?
I refused.
Oh.
It's not necessary. Besides, it would destroy him. He's come so far.
So he's not going to fall off the wagon. He's just trying to plan his replacement, trying to take as much a direct hand in the future, his kind of legacy, what comes after him in this role, as he can. That you recommend a replacement for him, though. He could look for that himself.
Why didn't he come to me?
We had an agreement long before you joined us. As a seeker, I could evaluate the dangers.
I see. That makes sense. Shouldn't he decide who do I listen to here? What do you think?
Is there anything we can do to change his mind?
If anyone could, it's you.
Really?
Mages have made their suffering known, but Templars never have. They are bound to the Order, mind and soul, with someone always holding their lyrium leash. Cullen has a chance to break that leash, to prove to himself, and anyone who would follow suit, that it's possible.
Okay.
He can do this. I knew that when we met in Kirkwall. Talk to him. Decide if now is the time.
Okay. Okay. So that's interesting. When Cullen told me about going cold turkey from Lyrium, he made my boots. He made it I don't know, the conversation seemed to imply very heavily that he did not expect to survive, that he would just continue to deteriorate, and that he'd already signed his own death warrant because of this. Cassandra says, what if Templars didn't need lyrium? What if they could be bound to nothing but their honor as opposed to some lyrium leash? And that Cullen could be the one to do it, to break that chain. That's a genuine kind of in-universe misunderstanding. I said, can we change his mind, as in, can we get him back on the lyrium, almost? Like, I'm not sure that's what I wanted to do, but was something that I was considering. But Cassandra is like, he's gonna do this. Can we get him to have faith that he will come out the other end of it? Now that, if he's gonna do it anyway, is something I am so on board with. But maybe let's talk to you again. Oh, really?
Writing does not come naturally to me.
Really?
As I'm certain you can imagine.
You're competing with Varric, is everything okay? Then why do it?
Let me guess, you're composing a love poem.
I couldn't. Not even if my life depended on it.
It's not that hard.
Yes, it is. Poetry takes finesse. It takes grace.
You think you don't have those things?
Meh.
Historians will one day ask what happened at Adamant Fortress, in the Fade. I wasn't there, but others were. Their accounts must be recorded.
I'm sorry you weren't there. I mean, people said that I should have brought Solus. Honestly, my biggest regret is not bringing Cassandra. But also, I think I would have regretted more not bringing Blackwall. I wish I could just take everybody. I don't care about historians. No, that's a good idea.
That's an excellent idea, Cassandra.
I certainly thought so, until I started writing.
I was there, you know. I can help.
I still don't know what to say about the spirit of the divine. The Chantry teaches us that the souls of the dead pass through the Fade, so it could have been her. Yet even so...
Another note I read was about the Emerald Waters mentioned in the Chant of Light. The well of Emerald Waters from where birthed the world or something like that. I don't think it was that explicit, but apparently there's a lot of debate as to what that actually is. The person who's writing hypothesized that it was just like the Fade. Oh, it was something to do with like where all death goes and all life comes from, and the idea that it was the Fade that they were talking about. This well of creation, now limited because it was used to create the world. So yeah, that's very possible. I mean, I personally do. I wasn't sure at first. Maybe not bound within our bodies, our spirits are free to mingle and to develop in the same way that a demon becomes a spirit or vice versa. Or a spirit changes its form depending on what emotion it represents. A dead person may be absorbed into the background of the Fade, which is why we don't really see ghosts in there. But a strong spirit, one like hers, can keep its identity and attract instead some form of spirit or demon to it and fuse with it, becoming something more, something different, but still maintaining that superior identity of whoever it was in the first place. It's an interesting theory for sure. The one thing I really like about this game is that in Dragon Age Origins, the Fade seemed to have very specific rules, as in, yeah, it was all composed of imagination, but all that stuff was kind of superficial for the most part. I mean, sure, you might get a weird key to unlock a door, but there were rage demons, there was justice, there was pride, and so on and so forth. Things like despair demons and stuff like that weren't even around. But the idea that demons are not like species anymore, that's sort of what it feels like. It feels more like they're looser, they're more conceptual, and it means that Dragon Age Inquisition here can get a lot more creative with what a demon is and what the Fade is going to be like. And I like that a lot, actually. I think that's really cool. Yeah, I believe it was her.
I believe it was the Divine. She helped us one last time.
I hope that's true. I want to believe it. When they told me you were physically in the Fade, I was terrified for you. The last time such a thing happened, we created Darkspawn. We created Corypheus. The world needs to know the truth this time. No more legends lost to the ages.
Agreed. I'm just worried about how they'll react to a certain truth. Here's something I'll straight up admit. I feel like I'm heading towards Cassandra in the romance of this game, but there she is. It's different compared with Liliana, compared with Meryl. With both of them, there was a much stronger attraction right from the off, you know? Like, Meryl was just instantly cute and endearing, and something about me and as Ian Hawke, like, Ian and Meryl's chemistry kind of clicked, like, instantly, and you could sort of see it. As soon as they spoke for the first time, there was a bridge between their mannerisms, which made you could look ahead and see them together. With Liliana, it was maybe because I played Nathan so first person. It was maybe more of like a just a straight up attraction to her, and she at the time appealed to this this free spirit thing, which I think I personally had going. The idea of like believe in what's in your heart, not what other people tell you and stuff like that. That you can like something that everybody else likes, but you should make that decision yourself, and so on and so forth. I don't quite remember what was going through my head at the time. I've gone through several phases in my life, but Liliana spoke to a bunch of those. Plus, I liked her accent. She was pretty. I knew she was one of the like the 2 romance options in, and I didn't fancy Morrigan. That last one is not so romantic, but in Dragon Age Inquisition with Cassandra, I compared her to Aveline before, and that is a very apt comparison in the way that I originally felt about her. Respect at her fortitude, her strength, and something who is not initially necessarily me as a person, my type. I tend to go for softer personalities. Not necessarily weaker personalities, but personalities which are gentler in their strength. Cassandra's very forthright and forceful. And it's not like I don't like that about her, it's just that I wasn't initially romantically attracted to her, but this thing is happening, and I'll wrap up this episode in a little bit, which happened with Aveline later in Dragon Age 2, where just the more time I spend with her, seeing her do her own thing, the more I interact with her, mainly in things like cutscenes and stuff like that, the more I'm starting to feel it. It's not a... It's the difference in between this and the other games. It's the difference between a gas lantern that you just spark and light to a campfire that you're slowly adding wood to. And if we could just ignore the fact that I said wood in a romance metaphor, I would really appreciate it. I'm just saying, I'm feeling it. It's not like all there yet. In fact, it occasionally felt kind of forced. Markus driving at her. And that's not an out of character like meta thing in the way that Markus is kind of like, I could like this person. I'm not sure that I do in that way, but I'll make the odd flirt just to kind of explore that option. And now, after flirting a few times, he's actually starting to feel it, and so am I. So, thank you very much for watching, everybody. In the next episode, we're probably going to go confront Colin, do some War Table stuff, and get on our way today. Yeah, I have something else to say, but I guess I'm just going to cliffhanger that because it'll fit better into the next episode. Thank you, folks. See you later.